that is unbelievable. Like I said 15 years ago, y'all ought to get a snitches union and demand higher wages. They should. People ought to get, right? Because they ought to just tell the white man, you can't go over there in the southeast and sit up next to him. Only we can go. Therefore, we're valuable. We want triple our salaries. Yeah, we want $25,000 a month or something like that. That's not $4,000 or $5,000 a month. That ain't nothing. You know the average tattletale salary. I don't know what the salary is, but I'm just imagining. But they could say, I want five times what y'all paying me. And then all the snitches, all the brothers that run off and leave and hide behind this and come back and sue it, they say, they get in it too. They're a snitches union, they know who each other is. Right? They say, we not going to do anything else. Until you help us get over, we're going to boycott. And if you try to get rid of us, we're just going to retire. All of us are old enough to retire, doggone there. Before you cut us off or do anything, you either pay us more so our kids can really live the big life and we can leave something behind, right? We don't believe in leaving nothing behind. Set it all ahead. Yeah. Anyway, teach and train for victory in our time. We always have this rise to the level necessary. The system is performing as expected. The system is performing as expected. One of the things we're going to teach is how to hypnotize the system. How to hypnotize the system. Okay. We already make the system do what we want. We are not, let's go over it again. Are we pursued by the system, or are we leading the system where we want the system to go? It's as simple as that. If we go through the last few weeks, just the last few weeks, downtown, all right, go down there, So, you can see them already, you can smell, you know, when you've been with Boss Man, you not only can smell him, you could feel him. You know, remember we was talking about a child when you want to put him to sleep, you just put him on the mother's breast, and all of a sudden, the child reorientate to its original rhythm of his parent, right? And the child was in the mama's, so the child, as soon as that rhythm kick in, the child is headed to sleep, right? Or whatever, it calms down because it's in the rhythm. Suppose the system raised you. That's the difference, remember. I keep telling everybody, I had a physical mother, physical daddy, but they didn't raise me. The state did. Remember I told you, state raised. That's where I was counting on all the people that got killed. 2 or 3 of the people got killed in LA in '69 by Ron Karinga and them, Bunchy Carter and a couple of more brothers. Those are friends of mine. We grew up together in prisons. This little state penitentiary. I did most of my time before I was grown. The time I did after was smaller time, although you're older. The most of the time I did was before I was 20 years old. I stayed in the little jails, get out, come out, I'd be back in a month, 2 months, easy. But I wasn't doing nothing anyway, right? So what happened? The state raised you and you learn the state. It's like lifers. Lifers in the army. They've been in the army so long, they can't live without it, right? They get out and they get bored, and they don't know what to do because they was raised in the lifers, right? Okay, you can get so used to the system that you know how it operates. One system is the same. If you was raised in the Army, you still have the same thing in your mind what they do in the Navy or the Air Force, because they're all systems. Whether it's the state government and the federal government, they all have a rhythm. They all have a pattern. You get used to them. That's the way they operate. They can't do anything but what they do. They have a rhythm and they have a pattern, right? And over the years, you get used to their rhythm, and especially if you're paying attention. You know, I would tell y'all a little secret. I don't know if I ever told anybody. Do you know the reason I left the country and went overseas? It's very simple. I was in all those little jails. And Negroes didn't run away much. All the little white boys would run away. That's supposed to be the worst thing that you can do, is run away from the little. It was just a little fence you run away. You know, they didn't have a field where you couldn't run away till you get to the penitentiary. You know what I mean? All it is, the little fences get a little higher, you know, as you go up, you know what I mean? But you can always run away. I found that I did more time. Every little white boy run away would come back and he'd wrap up and they'd send him home. All of them. Guess what come to me? With all this trouble from the white man, I'm running off. Because everybody I knew did less time. They did less time. I ran off, I did less time. All my friends did way more time. I ran off. That means the white man got to use all of his system to keep his eye on me, right? He got to use all the Peace Corps. He got to, right? He got to mobilize all that stuff to keep an eye on me, right? So it's cheaper if I let him go, and he may not run off again. And if you do, I got my eye on him. So I ran off because I studied the white man. When I was, it came to me when I was very young, in my teens. Almost not pre-teens, but teens. So all the black boys run off. And they go home, and here I am. Of course, I was messing up a little, you know what I mean? But I was just doing stuff to make the system mad. So they was always sending me to the hole, sending the little white boy run off, and he'd go to isolation of the hole for a few days, and he'd back home running around. I said, man, this is cold-blooded. So I said, I'm going to run off. And I run off, and lo and behold, they ready to work a deal. Yeah, I was right. I was right. Absolutely right. Why? Because the system operates a certain way. Right? Okay. Biospace taxes, terminology, engage the system. Rise to the level necessary. That means right now. We have to evolve to the level necessary to do what we need to do. In fact, right now, we have to rise to the level we keep in our mind 2050. Why 2050? Remember we talked about special gadgets to train you for a certain time, simulators and whatever. Well, we almost don't have to simulate. Things are moving so fast that in order to train for 2050, you have to jump on this thing now in order not to evolve behind the curve. Remember, everybody Everybody else that we know, they evolved behind the curve. We can't do that. And we have always been in front of the curve because we've always fabricated and we've always explained and we've always pointed out where the system is and where it's going with deadly accuracy. Okay, but now all the stuff we're talking, this thing has morphed. It's now traveling at warp speed, like, you know, when they push the button on this ship and turns into a little speck of light and it's gone. You know, like when you get Star Trek, stuff like that. Warp speed, I guess. Well, that's what we have to do in order to be ready for 2050. We have to get ready for now. I mean, we have to continue now. So that in 2025, we can be involved in a program that will help prepare us to get to 2050. And in 2045, we will already start preparing for the arrival of 2050 so we can step off into the world we want. I believe we can produce the world we want to live in. Yeah, that's what I believe that. It don't make no difference whether they believe it, but we're going to use everything we got to produce that, what we have in our mind. To hypnotize the system, we have to teach people possibility thinking, what's possible. And for them, seeing is not believing. They see what we're doing, but they don't believe. They either don't know or don't believe. Do you think the people, there's two aspects to this. People see what we're doing and they're shocked. They're just shocked at longevity and we ain't going crazy and stuff like that. But they don't ascertain, unless they listen very carefully and watch very carefully, that we manipulate the system. That somewhere along the line, we have hypnotized the system. The system does what we tell it to do. Yes, it do. They do it. Okay. The system functions like we want to function. Do they have an effect on us? Of course they do. Their whole system that you can't say, oh, you can't, I ain't doing that. But we've been hitting them with, look, boss man, here's where we are. We're ready to go into the future. We want you to pull back and leave us alone. Just leave us alone. In order to do that, we want you to also sign the treaty. We told them the other day, JPC or whatever. You know what that means. We expect you to lie. We expect you to, but if you just act right for 3 or 4 months, that's fine. At least you just can't come out and just say boo like you've been doing, you know what I mean? Or stupid stuff like yesterday. They couldn't do that. The treaty wouldn't allow. You can't drive by on a doggone lawnmower and all the grass over there is be cutting and you just drive by making noise and then go across the street. You can't do stupid stuff. And then people stopping and As-Sabiqun. And they're not mean. You notice they're not, there's no mean attitude. What does that mean? They was expecting us to come over there. They had something laid out. I feel it did. So I said, we're not going to go over there. We're going to see what they're going to do. What did they do? They came right on over where we were. Proof. That's why we was doing what we was doing yesterday. I could have said, cat and fiddle, the cow jumped over the moon. It didn't make no difference. It didn't make no difference. They came over, right? That means we got them on the hook. You see what I mean? We don't have to have them hooked where they can't get away, but we got them. They don't have us on the hook, right? They can't make us do anything, and everything they do is to get us to do something. And we don't do it. We may do 10% of what they want. Maybe we might do 25% sometimes. But they got all of that. And we ain't got nothing. Here's their problem. We can make the system behave the way we want. But let's see. Okay, strategic manipulation. Strategic manipulation is to manipulate the system to do what we want it to do. If it does what we want it to do enough times, right, that proves that we manipulate the system. It don't make no difference why they do it. Oh, we're going to trick them. It don't make no difference what they think in their mind, right? But if we can sit right down and say, I want boss man to do this 5 out of 7 times, right? And he do it 6 out of 7 times. Or he do it 4 out of 7 times. That proves that we, right, are manipulating the system, the whole system. We call it strategic manipulation. What we're dealing with is what we call it. The system, psychological inability to surrender to black people. It's a racist system, and it's unable to take the olive branch. Boss man, you can trust me, I'll fix everything, don't you? Don't worry about a thing. That's what we're telling them, right? Of course, you're the bad guy and all that, but in the long run, you leave it to us, just like we tell the Negroes, you just don't worry about a thing. Just cooperate, and we'll fix the story, because we're in charge of it. We could tell the world, Abdul Malik and them was cooperating with us, Mukhtar, everything they did was cooperating with us against the system. We're in charge of the narration, right? They'd be glad for us to say that. Lets them off the hook and makes them look smart. And we'll blow them up, put a poster, put a picture of them. The strategic manipulator, that's what we call Abdul Malik. We can do what we want, right? The psychological guerrilla warfare, we can do what we want. There's nothing wrong with that, right? We can do that, and we told him we can do that. Now, boss man, though, his problem, he's confused. He really is. He's confused right this very minute. Okay. The inability to surrender is subconscious, and therefore it's technically unconscious. He don't know why he can't, do what would be better for him. It's unconscious. So we call it his inability to surrender to us, the Negro. But there's compliance with our expectations. He's complying with what we want him to do. He complied yesterday. He complies every time we want something. He complies. That compliance is a mixture of conscious and unconsciousness. He's complying with us, but he refuses to surrender to us because of his historical racism and his inability to accept us as being sufficient at times and superior in other times to him. He's confused because he has a historical memory. He remembers what he's done to all of us. That's part of his historical memory. And just like Mandela and all of them, this European feels, because he knows himself, if I got power over them and they did that to me, I would do da-da-da-da-da-da to them. That is not our makeup, and if he studied history enough, he would see that the Negro perpetually forgives the white man. Constantly, over and over again. So what we're doing is not any different. It's when we say we're going to make everything all right, that's exactly what we mean. And technically, we don't want to do anything to him at all. But he don't believe it. He don't believe it because he can't swallow it. He can see it every day. It's like Booker T. Washington in 1896. He gave that speech on, it was about immigration. And he was trying to tell the big people up north and the other factory people and all that, Henry Ford, not Henry Ford at that time, but at that time it was Andrew Carnegie and all of them. You know where he had, he said, we have followed you tearfully to the grave, is what he said. He said that in. Why would you set us aside and get immigrants, you know, from Italy and everywhere, when we here, the Negro, have followed the white man's beard to the grave crying fat tears after what he was done to them? They did it. They actually did it. They actually did it. They'd almost do it now. After the white man relaxes for about 3 or 4 weeks or a month, you think the Negro ain't gonna forget what he did? But in a little ways, we'll go on with what we're talking about. Psychological inability to surrender to the Negro. When he got everything in his hand, why should we cooperate and let that Negro, those Negroes, manage anything in our world?